Hello, everybody. I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press MMA. Don't forget, you can find me on social media. That is at Drew Duncan 83 across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Additionally, you can find the Full Court Press MMA on social media as well, and all of our other subsidiaries, Full Court Press football and basketball. Folks, I have been attempting to get this interview for a very long time now. We were finally able to seal the deal. She comes in at 1-1, and her last fight, as a matter of fact, was won on the road. She's preparing for March 9 and Summit FC 31 in Mississippi, not too far away from her home in Tennessee. Her name is Jenny Savage. Jenny, thank you so much for joining the program.
Thank you for having me. I'm so sorry it took so long.
No worries. We got this. I know we don't have a whole lot of time. You're calling me from your gym right now, so we'll just dive right into it. I want to begin with this, if I may. Jenny, you were very vocal about the J.W. Kaiser Jack Swagger fight. You said from the outset that it completely looked like a mismatch. Are you vocal about that because you saw maybe where you felt Jack Swagger was being spoon-fed somebody? I mean, what was the main case behind that when you saw that match beginning to take shape?
Well, knowing that the pro wrestler, because my boyfriend, he's a pro wrestler, and he's like super obsessed with the scene, and he filled me in on a lot of information about the guy who was coming in as a pro wrestler. And I just was really concerned because they tried to do that to another girl who was like 0-11, and it's just the same to me. I'm just like, wow, it's like they want to pad these pretty people's records and not really match them up against somebody that's a tough competitor who's been, probably competing for years. And I'm not saying that the other guy wasn't, he had a lot of fights on his record and he was really good, but I just think that the body type wasn't there. I mean, I'm not saying that they weren't good-looking men. There's some very good-looking men. Good matchup as far as the look, but I'm saying it just wasn't fair.
Look, WWE fans are exceptionally hardcore. They are loyal to a T. They hold people like Hogan and Austin near and dear to their hearts. And Ronda Rousey got permission from Rowdy Roddy Piper himself to use the name Rowdy. Obviously, you can't do that with the macho gimmick that you've kind of taken on a little bit. I mean, are you worried that there could be some backlash by using that?
Absolutely not. I've actually spoke to a couple of people that said that Macho Man would have been really honored, but I'm not really stealing anything. I haven't really made money off of that name. I actually used Jenny Savage as my actual fight name, legal fight name, so I'm not really worried at all.
Talking to Jenny Savage right here on the Full Court Press MMA. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Jenny, I was very fortunate one time to stand face to face with Royce Gracie and interview him. One of the things that he told me is he said, quote, "We don't fight for titles. We don't fight for money. We fight to prove that our style is the best." For Royce Gracie, it's all about pride. But what motivates Jenny Savage?
My son, the fact that women should be able to pursue whatever sport that they dream to be a part of, and most of all, God, and just what God has planned for all of us, and and how we could carry on His will. Not to sound like a Bible thumper or nothing, but that's the number one thing that drives me, is just to let people know that they can go after whatever it is that they dream.
And Jenny, going into that, that's a perfect lead into my next question, which is, regardless of what people think, being an athlete in general is not just drugs, sex, and rock and roll. There is a lot that builds into it. People see the glamour side of it, but they don't see the behind the scenes aspect. Could you give us some detail on what a day-to-day life is for you and the grind and what it takes to really get to that peak level as you continue to increase in your career?
Well, I've sacrificed everything for this career. I literally wake up every single morning figuring out what I'm going to do to advance as an MMA fighter. I train cardio I do whatever I got to do in the morning time. I can't really reveal too much after that because I just realized that, I'm getting up there. I don't want nobody knowing my plans, but I train pretty much twice a day. I have my son. I have to tend to him when he gets out of school and then, get back on it. Like right now, I'm normally busy right now at this time, and then I spend a lot of time doing PR stuff and on my off time, like on the weekends, whenever I do have a little bit of time off, I try to help out with people in the community and try to get things started and, make each other aware of each other, or other businesses aware of each other's presence here, and try to help other people. That's pretty much all I want to do, is just make a platform for other people to see each other.
Jenny, you talked about PR, and I got to tell you, I interviewed so many promoters in my time, and they have said the greatest struggle that they have are getting fighters who understand self-promotion so that way they don't have to do it. And your selfie game is exceptionally strong on social media. You are not camera shy at all. Do you think that that's going to help advance you and help get you to where you want to go?
Well, see, when I first started, I was a model. I didn't know that I was going to really get into fighting much. I thought that was kind of like a long shot for me at the time because I had my son, and, before I had him, I was a wrestler, not a pro wrestler, but a high school wrestler, and I did some boxing until they wanted to sign my hands, and, I wasn't ready to do that. And, so I started picking up the gloves. I realized that I had a talent. And, I had a lot of built up frustrations from, growing up and everything else, and it helped. And I realized that it was everything that I need. So as far as the selfies, I think that it has done nothing but help me because it's honestly what began my entire fan base. I can't lie, That's why I think that people should always look at the talent and not the looks. I'm not surprised if anybody doesn't think that I'm where I should be if I ever make it to a certain spot because of the way I look. Because, I started off very popular based on those selfies. So, but, yeah, there is a place for me because I work hard. And I like using those selfies as an illusion so that people can use something to put on their little heavy bag in the gym they could beat up on.
Jenny, you talked about some of the struggles of growing up, and if we may, can you kind of get into some of that, maybe how MMA is kind of that outlet and maybe some things that you would also tell, other people that have gone through similar situations growing up?
Yeah, of course. Well, growing up, I had a big sister that was pretty mean to me. She didn't really, we didn't get along at all. It's pretty hateful, actually. And I had been misunderstood a whole lot growing up with her and my mother. She had 3 of us girls, and all 6 years apart, my little sister and my big sister. And it was a big struggle because my mother, she did it all by herself. She didn't ask for no help. And eventually it gave in, or she gave in to all that pressure herself, and turned into a little bit of a, not the best mother, but she made up for it after a while. That's why we have like the strongest bond now. But, back when I was a teenager, I kind of got into some trouble and, had my son, but he was intentioned. He was, it's kind of hard to talk about. He was all intentionally made, but I was a dumb kid. And I'm just glad that he actually motivated me to do better with my life, and he pretty much got me out of my hole. But it's a good outlet, especially for somebody who has a son, or heck, any daughter. Not daughter, sorry. This is a really rough topic for me. That's why I'm stuttering and scattering over words, so I apologize. But I don't talk about it much. But like I said, I was willing to talk about anything. But it was something that was a wonderful outlet for me. Anytime that you find yourself at a loss for words like me, I'm going to go hit a bag, get it off my chest. The things that I use whenever I have a hard time getting through fight camp. I think about the many times that I've wanted to overcome just all those battles that I had with my family. And winning the fight or losing, it doesn't matter. As long as I get back up is what the symbol is for all that I went through. So, but like I said, so it's a touchy topic, but it's something that I'm willing to let everybody hear about if they're willing to listen, because you never know who needs to hear it. And I think that it's just good for, like I said before, all women, you know, if they want to pursue something, this is a really good sport to let a lot of your issues off your chest, for sure. Whether you want to become a fighter or whether you just want to get into shape or just to be able to defend yourself, I think all women should at least do something like jiu-jitsu or any part of MMA. It's beautiful. It changed my life, and I plan on giving the rest of my life to this sport, even if I can't fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, her name is Jenny Savage, and as she alluded to earlier, clearly more to her than what meets the eye. Jenny, as I do with all of my guests, I give them an opportunity at the end of each interview to say whatever it is that's on their mind. There's no right or wrong answer here. The floor is 100% yours.
Oh, well, I like to thank anybody who tuned in, and I like to thank you for having me on the show. You can find me on Instagram, Macho Miss Jenny Savage, and you can like my Facebook page at Jennifer Macho Miss Jenny Savage Classy, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, and I'm putting together my list of sponsors, so I don't want to give away the details yet, but I have big plans for the future. I'm eyeballing M1 Global, so you guys might want to keep your eyes on their next bout. Should be in Arizona, and we're hoping that we're going to be more than victorious, come out with no scratches or bumps that will restrict me from taking this fight, but I'm looking forward to having a great fight and hopefully be signed to a multi-contract deal with them. That'll be great. So that's just a little bit of a sneak peek into what's going on.
Excellent. Can you do me a favor? Can you give me one? Ooh, yeah. I mean, I don't do a good macho man, but hey.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Macho Mr. Savage. Cream of the crop. Like I said, it's all to honor the macho man, not to take anything from him or make any memorabilia with his stuff on it. You know, I just want to honor him, if anything, and let everybody know what great of a man he was. Stuttering, I'm out here in this cold, and it's so cold, and people are trying to distract me through this door, trying to get my attention. So, and then these touching questions you keep asking me, they're just awesome. No questions.
None taken. Her name is Jenny Savage. Jenny, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. All right, everybody. I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press MMA. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Use the hashtag Don't You Dare Touch That Dial. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.